Good day, my name is Jax and welcome to Belucci Studios Tech Talk. In today's Tech Talk, we are going to be looking at this. No, not the iPad. This would be the ESR REbound Hybrid Protection Bundle. And that's a offering that ESR has for the iPad Mini 6. Okay, so why would you want to get this? Apple does provide the Apple Folio, and while that is a very nice looking and very attractive looking cover for your iPad, it's not, for those of us who tend to throw things into bags, tend to drop stuff, it's not really a very practical option. It's a very nice looking option. It's also a fairly expensive option. But this bad boy over here, the ESR REbound Hybrid Protection Bundle, is for those of us who have the iPad in a bag with a whole bunch of other things. Those of us who would have a tendency to perhaps drop the iPad, and I mean that does happen, if you, it's a possibility. Okay, not something that I've experienced it and something that I hope never happens, but it is a definite possibility. So if you are someone that does have your iPad in a bag with a whole bunch of other things, then the Apple Folio probably won't be the best option if you care about the condition and the state of your iPad throughout the entire time that you have it. If you are someone like me that doesn't buy these things very regularly and very often and upgrades it every year, then you would want it to last quite some time and to be in a good condition for quite some time. And that's where this REbound Hybrid Protection Bundle comes in. It will protect your iPad. So let's look at it. Firstly, what all do you get in the packaging? You get the case, there's a screen protector, and then you have the detachable magnetic stand. So all three of these things serve a particular purpose, and all three of them are really useful. So let's get into this review of this bundle. The first thing to note is that everything seems to be of a really high quality. It has a very nice premium feel to it. The case itself, which will house your iPad mini, has nice thick rubber along the edges, which should ensure that if the iPad does fall on its side, that it should be sufficiently protected. And there's a decent border to that to the rubber that will protect the iPad from falling on the sides. So it's a fairly decent, fairly substantial piece of protection that you have over there. The other thing about it, so although it's very nicely protected, they've also gone to great lengths to ensure that your iPad is still very usable. So firstly, your iPad Touch, there's a nice cutaway here so that you can use it. And I mean, in the 3-4 months that I've been using this, I've never found that the protection that the casing provides actually gets in the way. There's also cutouts for the speakers. You have your two buttons over here that go straight through to the iPad mini, and those work really well. I haven't had, in the 3 or 4 months that I've been using this, I haven't had any issues with that. There's also a cutout for the USB-C on the other end, so you can very easily plug in a USB-C cable and unplug it. I haven't had any issues with that as well. Something that I did find was rather surprising is the way in which they cater for the Apple Pencil. And I initially thought that this would connect directly to the iPad mini, but there's a piece of plastic, I'll call it plastic, the protection that you have right around the edges. There's some protection between the pencil and the iPad itself, so that if the iPad does fall on the pencil won't damage or shouldn't damage the iPad inadvertently. What this also does is, surprisingly enough, you'll see that that snaps on, the Apple Pencil snaps on very easily. Something that you can do quite easily when you have the pencil attached directly to the iPad is that you can just very easily twist this off. Now, as you can see, I'm actually turning the case by trying to twist this off, and it doesn't. And that's something that I think they did that's really smart, because the pencil rests in a little groove that, yeah, it rests in a little groove. So that means that if you try and twist it off, it doesn't come off quite easily, but you can very easily just pull it out. What that does mean is that if you were to take this, if you were to use this bundle and you had your Apple Pencil and you dropped it into your case and you start adding a whole bunch of other things, the pencil isn't going to twist off quite easily. And that's that's pretty cool. That's really cool. Then the other part of the bundle, so the first part is the case, the second thing is the screen protector. Now I've had the screen protector on here, and the only thing that I don't really like about it is that it's not edge to edge. So there's like a 1 millimeter gap, very very small sliver where you can see where the screen is exposed. But again, if the iPad were to fall on the screen, that screen protector should definitely protect that. Then the third part of this is the detachable magnetic cover. Now, just to show you how easily this works, you can take that off, right? And once you have it off, if you do want to get it back on, you just do that, snap it back, you're good to go. Very easy to detach and very easy to use. And what that detachable cover does is it does allow you to use the iPad in various orientations. It does allow you to stand it up like this. I of course would never in my life use this iPad in this orientation because I'm not very confident that this thing will remain standing. Although this protection bundle I think is really good, I just wouldn't tempt fate by getting it to stand like that, because if whatever you have it standing on, if that thing were to shake too much, then your iPad can come tumbling down. And while I think it should protect it, if that does happen enough, I can't see that that's any good for the iPad. So you can use it like that. Then you can use it in the landscape orientation as well. And this is nice for when you're watching videos, when you're just browsing the internet or doing various kinds of things. Then you can also use it in this fashion. And here you can use it to write without having to crouch over the screen, over the iPad. It works pretty well. And the stand is it's not flimsy. This part of it is not flimsy at all. It's really well made. So unless you are going to be applying like a whole lot of pressure on there, I think it should be able to work quite well. The kind of pressure that would damage the screen I'm talking about. If you apply that levels of pressure, then chances are that this thing won't hold. But if you are a reasonable person and you are using this thing reasonably, then it should work quite well. And it has worked quite well for me. I mean, I've had this thing like for 3 or 4 months. Alright, so quite a lot about this thing that I enjoy, quite a lot about this that I like. And before I go any further, please do consider subscribing to my channel. And yeah, if you like this kind of content, if you can subscribe, like the video, perhaps if you do like the video, then let's try and grow the channel. Any problems with the device, I've said a lot of good things about it. Let's talk about the mildly irritating to the not so mildly irritating. The one thing about this cover is that it does pick up dirt quite easily. So if there's any dirt on the surface that you are using it on, it will pick it up, and fortunately it comes off quite easily, so you can just wipe that off and you're good to go. One problem. Then there's something that's a bit more problematic for me, but there is a solution to it, and that is when you, let's see if we can get the screen back on. And I mean, this is the way the cover works. If you fold the cover over that way, and then you'll see that the screen will just go on. So at some point it goes off, it's off right at that point, and then you lift it up and it goes on, off. Right, so that's cool. The thing is that it works on the other side as well. So we go from off to on, and then it goes back in there and it's off. So that could be a bit of a problem if you if you use it like this with this part and it touches there, then the screen would go off. So that's a bit of a problem. But the way in which you get around that is, you kind of like find that spot at which it doesn't go off, and then you can use it. So that's a bit of a problem, and that is helped by the fact that this part over here there's nothing solid in that at all. It just bends very easily. So as a result of that, the other thing that happens is that this can very easily start looking very uncomfortable or untidy, where you have the screen going one way and then this magnetic the front cover just going the other way. So that's not the big problem. The solution to that is you take this off, and then you don't have that problem. However, you then need to ensure that you keep this safe. If you aren't at home, if you are out and about somewhere, then you'd need to put this in your bag or in a pocket or in something to ensure that you keep it safe and you don't forget it. So that's how you would, that's the only way that I can think of that you would get around that. And as I mentioned before, it's very easy to get it back into place and then to continue working with it. Really mild issues. It's nothing serious, nothing that should, in my opinion, negatively affect your decision to purchase this. But for some people that could be a big issue. For others it couldn't. And as I mentioned, there's a very easy way to get around any potential problems that you might encounter. Okay guys, and that I think is where I will leave it for now. The ESR REbound Hybrid Protection Bundle, I think that this is really good engineering by ESR. They really have done a phenomenal job with it, all things considered. I love it. I've loved using it, and it has really proven to be I don't often feel like a product is absolutely amazing, but this, if I had to rate this, I would say this one definitely gets 9 out of 10, and that's high praise coming from me. I hardly ever would give anything 10 out of 10 or full marks, but this is really good, and for the price as well, much cheaper than the Apple Folio. Yeah, really good bundle. Well done, ESR. And that, guys, is where I will leave this today. Please do consider subscribing to the channel. If you have enjoyed this video, do click that like button. If you didn't, then well, I'm so sorry. I can only apologize on behalf of upper management. So that's it for me. That's it for me for now, and I will catch you in the next one. Cheers, guys.